Hi guys, welcome back to Aaron's Vegan Vida. So on today's video, I have a recipe that I have been testing out for way too long, okay? Many of you guys know, if you have already watched my Pastor tacos videos, my parents do own a taco stand and they're pretty popular in my hometown for their tacos. I want to one day veganize all the types of meats they use for tacos. I've already done pastor, which is a great recipe. Go check it out. I'll link that down below. And my next thing to tackle was asada. I'm doing marinade. This marinade is inspired by real carne asada, not asada tacos, but carne asada, like when you grill outside with your family. A lot of people like to marinate their asada with like orange juice, onions, and kind of marinate it and then grill it. So this is what I did to mine as well. Since it is vegan, I do have to get creative and change it up to give it that asada color, that like really nice savory taste. Today I'm also going to show you guys how to make a salsa verde. It's more of a salsa, like a mixed one, because I'm doing kind of, it's more like brown. It's not so red, but it's not so green. It's in the middle. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye. Hey guys, so to get started with this recipe, you will need an 8-ounce bag of soya, or you can use soy curls. I typically purchase my soya in Mexican markets or the Hispanic dry herb aisle. For example, I purchased this one at Food for Less for only $2.99. Soy curls can be purchased online as well for like $5. It's a little bit more expensive. I'll link both in the description down below in case you can't find them in person, but I highly recommend these soya chunks. To rehydrate the soya, I submerged it in hot water for roughly 20 minutes until it doubled in size. Make sure you mix that around, and once it's rehydrated, it should look a little bit something like this. It definitely does double in size and becomes more voluminous in general. So once rehydrated, I strained it and squeezed out all the excess water so it can absorb the marinade that we will be making. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my marinade. As I mentioned earlier, it is highly inspired by traditional carne asada that is usually marinated for hours before popped onto the grill. So I marinated this because, as you can see, the soya is such a light color, almost like chicken. So we're going to be adding some color and some taste to it. So for the marinade, you're gonna need 1 cup of some fresh orange juice. I freshly squeezed my own oranges, and to that I'm adding 1 cup of some vegan beef broth. I used the one by Orrington Farms. I'll link that down below. And to that I'm adding half a cup of some fresh lime juice as well, freshly squeezed. 4 tablespoons of some Maggi seasoning sauce. This is what's gonna give it that dark asada color. And to that I'm adding 1 tablespoon of some minced garlic, half a tablespoon of seasoning salt, and half a tablespoon of some pepper, and just mixing that right in. Okay, so now I'm pouring in the soya chunks straight into that marinade and giving that a really good mix so that the soya gets thoroughly coated all throughout. And once you have done that, you can pop a lid right onto the container and refrigerate this for 4 hours or overnight until later usage. I actually did it for 4 hours on this day, but I've also done it overnight. Works just as well. In the meantime, I'm gonna be making a quick salsa. To a pot, I'm adding 8 tomatillos, 2 serranos for some spice, and I'm gonna be cooking this until soft, completely submerged in water. Keep in mind that tomatillos cook way faster, so make sure to take those out first. Just keep a close eye on them. I usually take out the tomatillos and set them aside, and then take out the serranos after. Now I'm chopping up some of the ingredients for later, some onion, some cilantro. All you need for this salsa is a blender, so I brought out my Vitamix, and to that I'm adding 15 toasted chile de árbol alongside 1.5 teaspoons of some salt or to taste, with 2 of the cooked serranos from earlier. And off camera I added 2 raw garlic cloves and turned the blender right on. I didn't have quite enough ingredients, so I had to add a little bit of water, so I added roughly 3 tablespoons of some water. You can just add a splash, it doesn't need much since we are adding tomatillos right after. So once blended, I added in the 8 cooked tomatillos and pureed it until smooth. By adding in the tomatillos after the first ingredients, it actually allows the first ingredients that I added to get completely blended, since the tomatillos need much less time, so you just need to like pulse them in, if that makes sense. This makes the perfect salsa, and this tip was actually given to me by my mother. She is like literally the queen of spicy salsa. So now that the salsa is all ready, I like to store it in a mason jar and can be refrigerated for up to 2 weeks. This salsa is like a hybrid of green salsa and red salsa, so I guess you could say brown salsa. It is so delicious. Okay, so now 4 hours later or overnight, it's time to take a look at the asada. As you can see, it soaked up most of the marinade that we made, and I'm not going to be squeezing any of the liquid out. Whatever goes into the pan is going to go into the pan. So we're going to be cooking off the marinade, but we're not going to be squeezing it out, if that makes sense. So to a hot pan, I'm gradually adding half a cup of vegetable oil. Make sure it is a frying oil. And to that, I'm adding the asada using a slotted spoon so that no excess marinade goes in there. We're going to try to drain some of it out, but not all of it. And as you can see, the bowl is going to have some leftover marinade. You can completely just toss that out. Asada is going to be quite wet, as you can see right there. It's going to cook that off. So just keep mixing that for 15 to 20 minutes until it starts to dry out quite a bit. And to that, I'm adding half a tablespoon of some seasoning salt. You can do this to taste. Maybe you might not need this. Remember, always taste your food as you cook. So then I'm adding the remaining oil, and I'm gonna be cooking the asada roughly another like 10 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. And once the asada has little moisture left, I added in 3/4 cup of some diced onion, and I'm cooking this until the onion softens. I like to brown my asada a little bit, as I said. And voila, all done. It should look something like this, and see how easy that was. I hope you guys really like this. Make sure to give this a taste and adjust seasonings if needed. Now for the tortillas, today I'm making my own homemade ones using this maseca, which is pretty much a dry tortilla mix. You can find this at nearly every store. So to a bowl, I'm adding 1 cup of the maseca and 1 cup of hot water. Just be sure to add the water gradually to reach the perfect texture, not too wet and not too dry. So just mix this right in, and there you go. It's pretty easy. You just kind of have to feel it. Of course, you can use store-bought tortillas, but I love making my own, and I always get comments to go a little bit more in depth. So this is for you guys, honestly. So you're gonna roll your masa into little balls. I made mine small since I like more of a street taco vibe. And now you're gonna grab your tortilla maker or tortilladora. This is my mother's actually. My dad made it himself just for her, which is so awesome. I always ask him to make me a yellow one, which he hasn't. Dad, if you're watching this, please make me a yellow one. It can actually make like huge tortillas, which is pretty cool. So you're gonna place the ball right onto the plastic and press gently, and see, it's super easy. Now you're gonna carefully grab the tortilla right off and place it on a super hot comal or grill. Just make sure it is hot, but please be careful. I have burnt myself many times. So the key is to let it cook until you can manually just grab it, like it doesn't fall apart. And then you're gonna flip it and let it cook again on the other side as well. So once both sides are cooked, they should start to puff up, and this is what cooks the inside of it. So sometimes you can give them a little bit of a boost by gently pressing down on them with your hand, and they will puff right up. Now for the plating, simply serve yourself however many tacos as you would like. Add some onion, some cilantro, some of that homemade salsa, a lime wedge. I also made off camera a grilled serrano pepper, and if you have some time, maybe even grill some onions. It'll be so delicious. And there you guys have it, some delicious vegan carne asada tacos. I hope you guys really enjoyed this recipe, and if you guys recreate it, make sure to either tag me on Instagram, DM me on Instagram, and remember, my DMs are always open for suggestions on future recipes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys for all the continuous love you guys gave me. Bye.